YouTube family, welcome YouTube friends. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel. We have plenty of content for you. We're breaking down all the action from today's Champions League matches. Vamos! This is Karim Benzema's world, and we are all just living in it. It was a good night for the Spanish sides as Real Madrid and Villarreal took first leg leads over the last two seasons' Champions League winners. I'm here with Michael Lahoud to dissect a jaw-dropping evening of European action and Everton's latest costly defeat, and the reports linking, by the way, Ten Hag with the Manchester United job. I'm sure Michael Lahoud and many Manchester United fans will want to discuss that, but there's a lot to discuss. We want all your input. We want your comments and your questions. Throw them in. We want to talk a little bit of Champions League and so much more. Qué Golazo begins right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Qué Golazo, youtube.com/Qué Golazo. I'm LME at LMHRI. He is Michael Lahoud at Mike Lahoud. Welcome to CBS Sports Qué Golazo. It's a Champions League Wednesday recap, baby. Michael, how are you, buddy?
I am just stress-free, getting married at the end of the month. And I think watching Karim Benzema, what he's about, there's a feel-good vibe. There's just so much love in the air. Just thank you, Karim. We'll tap into that more, but just really good day.
Everybody that's watching, please make sure that you congratulate Michael Lahoud as he gets married at the end of this month, right, Michael Lahoud? Is that right?
Yep, end of this month, April 30th is a big day. So just really, really grateful for a lot of things for my wife to be, and really just grateful for players like Karim Benzema because, thank you. Anyone that beats Chelsea, thank you.
I'm just very glad, Michael Lahoud, that you mentioned your lovely wife to be first before Karim Benzema. I feel like you might have gotten in trouble there. As long as you don't have the him in your vows, I think you'll be fine, right?
Well, if he keeps playing like he's playing, I might have to try and petition to have him at the wedding in case Ancelotti, they've done the job, so he might be free up for that weekend. But she watches the shows. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, perfect. Well, congratulations to you both. End of the month, absolutely. We're just happy that you're here in the first place, and I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more as the big day leads up. But welcome, everybody. Qué Golazo Champions League Wednesday recap. We want your comments or your question. If you're a Chelsea fan, how do you feel about this? Right after losing to Brentford, you lose one more time again, concede 3 goals. Real Madrid fans, by the way, this is your first victory against Chelsea. It's your first away victory against an English opponent for the first time since 2014, 2015. Karim, the Dream, Benzema does it again, but I thought there were very good performances from all over the pitch. Michael Lahoud, let's get going. First of all, there were some billionaire bidders in attendance at Stamford Bridge. Michael Lahoud, Todd Bowley was there. I think, what do you think of that? I don't know if the check is already being guaranteed, but they're already there and present.
If the check's been guaranteed, ask for a refund. I'd be begging for no. I took one too many zeros. If the check hasn't, well, Abramovich and your crew, the price just went down. Not just down, way down after that performance. There's a cloud hanging over. It's not just because it's London and it's England and it's rainy. There's just a cloud, and rightfully so, over this Chelsea team. I thought that they got it all wrong trying to play a back four against Brentford, and now when you get to the Champions League, you're playing catch up, you're playing makeup, and it cost them. I mean, they were bullied for 90 minutes against an experienced and quality Real Madrid team.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Just a few notes here, by the way. First it was Brentford, then it was Benzema. Now Chelsea concedes 6 goals in less than an hour, which is kind of scary. But Karim Benzema, first of all, unbelievable. Vinicius Jr. to make that first assist, by the way, and then obviously that ball, I believe it was Toni Kroos, maybe it was Modric, one of those two. There's Norris confirming with them. Yeah, who was it? It was Modric. Yeah, I mean, obviously it was Modric. You had to go with that, but 2 fantastic headers. I thought the second one was even more impressive, just how he could angle his body to evade that from Edouard Mendy. Yes, Natalie, Benzema is a fine wine indeed. He breaks his own record as the oldest player to score a Champions League hat-trick. That's 11 goals this season. And I think it's fair to say, and I want everybody's thought on this, if you're watching, is Benzema the best number 9 in the world? To me, the answer was clear a while ago, but I'll say it one more time. Yes. What do you think, Michael?
Absolutely. This second hat trick in the span of 2 Champions League rounds, not only is he the best number 9 in the world, he is my leading candidate to win the Ballon d'Or
Ooh, baby.
this year. I'm putting it out there. I'm it's time that I cash receipts, because this man is gaining the respect of not only me, but people around the world. To do what he did single-handedly, he's demolishing teams. To do what he did against PSG is one thing. Against a very, very staunch PSG attack, stole the show with his hat trick. But to go into London, one of the epicenters of football, and to put on a show at Stamford Bridge, well done, world class. And what I like about him is, look at the way he's scoring goals. He's not just a number 9 who leads the line and wants to run in behind. He comes back. He's the link-up guy. He played that ball to Vinicius Jr., and now he's getting on the end of service from wingers. It's just first-class stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, Des Norris, I agree. That graphic shared a few funny. It was Ronaldo, obviously, but Olivier Giroud, I didn't realize as well. The beautiful man that is Olivier Giroud, he's also getting on in terms of his age. But Karim Benzema, unbelievable. So everybody out there, please let me know. Is he the best number 9 in the world? Tell me right now. And if you don't think so, who is? I just think it's very difficult to argue against that. But Chelsea, it's weird here, Michael. I think that obviously what's happened with the sanctions against Roman Abramovich and, trying to find a new owner, and then the sort of inconsistency of finances and not knowing even how much money was going to be allowed, as little as, as small as something as like, travel to actual wages, to the stuff. I think just so many out of the pitch issues have really, like you said, clouded this side. I mean, from a formation perspective, you mentioned, the strategy against Real Madrid was a mistake. Rudiger, Thiago Silva, and Christensen. That's a very, it's a sort of sedimentary back line, I think, even against an old player like Karim Benzema.
I think where they got it wrong was Christensen, and he was played off the park. The pace of Vinicius Jr., I would have put Azpilicueta on that side. I'm not sure what's happened between Marcos Alonso and Thomas Tuchel. I don't know if Alonso will not even get there as the family show. I'm not going to say anything awful about that. We'll keep it PG. But there's just an imbalance to this team, and the weakest link in the back line got found out, Christensen. Vinicius was just running up and down that back line, and really 2 players, Reece James and Christensen, couldn't keep up with one in Vinicius Jr.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? Vinicius Jr. didn't even have that much of a great game. I mean, a great assist, but he overthought it most times as well. Des Norris, if you throw out that graphic of Real Madrid's lineup, listen, Karim Benzema deserves all the credit, of course, man of the match, no doubt. But I thought that Fede Valverde, the Uruguayan center midfielder, was unbelievable, working his socks off. It was no surprise at the end he fell to the floor because he was just too tired. Casemiro as well, but obviously, we know what he can give. I thought Valverde was fantastic in the game. And then another one, who, by the way, has already shown it a while ago. I was angry at the beginning of his arrival to Real Madrid, Michael Hood, for obvious reasons, because I'm a staunch supporter of Keylor Navas. And, but you got to give it to Thibaut Courtois, who was incredible. That save against Azpilicueta. Ooh, baby. How good was that?
Oh, man. That shot that Azpilicueta hit looked like he was about to take the goal and Courtois both out of the stadium. He put some venom on that shot. Azpilicueta, he has that. Some of the goals he scored for Chelsea have been bombazos into the back of the net. But this is a Real Madrid team that is dependent on goalkeepers, and really successful Madrid teams have been dependent on quality goalkeepers saving their backsides to allow the attack to flourish. Iker Casillas before him, Keylor Navas in the Champions League, and now Courtois doing it. Mind you, this was a Courtois that left Chelsea to go to Madrid, Spain. So very good return for him back to London.
Absolutely. I mean, and, Edouard Mendy with an uncharacteristic mistake in the third goal, allowing Karim Benzema to get his hat trick. And it's funny, in Spanish, he's known as Karim El Gato Benzema, the cat. And it's by default, because back when Jose Mourinho was the manager of Real Madrid, he would call him a cat because he was lazy. Like it was an actual sort of off the par insult. And Karim Benzema used that from that moment on and changed his game off the ball. And at this age, to this day, you still see that. And it's unbelievable. He's not El Gato anymore. He's El León, the lion. He's just so scary, so overwhelming. Such a good player. And all you need is a Benzema to be on point and a just above average Real Madrid. And this team can go really far. And the irony is, yes, there's that Jose Mourinho called Higuain su perro, the dog, as well. So I don't know what he's doing. He's creating a little mini zoo, I guess. But listen, after the break, we're going to talk about Villarreal and Bayern Munich, and then we'll get into the brackets. But quick question right now, and for everybody watching, if you're a Real Madrid fan, or Chelsea, like, how confident are you about the second leg? Now, Real Madrid coming back to the Bernabeu, they got a 2-goal advantage. Chelsea are going to have to gamble, and I wonder how much of an advantage that's going to be, and how high are your chances now, Michael, of seeing Real Madrid not just beat Chelsea, but, going even further?
I think they've now jumped up as one of the new favorites for this competition, not just in this performance, but they have momentum on their side. They're winning games in different ways, and they're doing it behind one player, their talisman and captain, Karim Benzema. But look at the players they have on the bench. Valverde now can play right winger, and we've typically seen him emerge as a box-to-box midfielder in recent years in the middle of the park. Now you have flexibility to play different tactical rotations, and you can rest certain players. I was surprised Asensio didn't get the start, especially with what he's proven to have done in the last couple of years.
Very smart move from Ancelotti to do that, because you saw that through the game. Chelsea like to be narrow sometimes. I know that we focus so much on the width, but every now and again, they like to just, suffocate you. And Valverde being used, as you said, like sort of a little bit from a wider perspective, he was able to contain a lot of what was going on within the middle of the park. Continue, my friend. I thought it was very smart by Ancelotti in that regard.
I couldn't agree with you more. And what I like about Valverde is his ability to cover so much ground and play on both sides of the ball. And I think that's him calling me right now saying, thanks for the compliments. I'll call you back, Fede. But his ability to go up against an Azpilicueta who likes to be very aggressive. Yes, Azpilicueta is playing on the left versus the right, but he's still going to get really far up like Chelsea wingbacks do in this back three or back five system. Now, in transition is where Real Madrid have been so dangerous this season. And when you have a player like him who's going to be honest defensively when you're away from home, you need that more than anything. And then he can also get up and down and get in the attack, which he did as well. And just masterclass. The experience of Ancelotti won out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. The Added Time podcast, thank you so much. You're always here supporting us. Thank you for the comment. Chelsea beat themselves. So many missed chances, and Mendy was hard. Kepa has to start. Listen, Added Time podcast, ATP, I'm not sure if I agree with the fact that Chelsea beat themselves. I really think Real Madrid did a really good job at identifying Chelsea's strengths and sort of nullifying them. Think about how good Reece James usually is. He was practically invisible in this one. Pulisic didn't have a good game. I didn't think, obviously, when Lukaku came on, he missed a sitter, but, I in many ways, there's things that Chelsea could have done to make it better, but I think this was more about Real Madrid stamping their ground and Karim Benzema just being Karim Benzema. What do you think, Michael?
I agree 1,000%. I definitely do not think that Chelsea beat themselves. They were soundly beaten at home. There was a stretch in the match where Madrid looked like the home team and Chelsea looked like the away team.
The stadium felt like the Bernabeu. Chelsea were getting whistled. Like when they had possession.
it was silence.
Well, and by the way, I grew up in England. I went to college 20 minutes from Stamford. I've been to Stamford Bridge a lot of times, and I'm telling you something, when Chelsea don't play well, that's usually what happens. Like, it completely gets overturned. Here's a good question, by the way, from Serge. Serge, thank you so much. Your avatar's a little mystifying, Serge. I'm trying to figure out what are British teams overrated, or English media don't give enough credit to La Liga teams? There's a little bit of truth in both, Michael. I'll let you chime in a second, but I can tell you right now, Serge, that as somebody that knows both cultures really well, non-English and English, I grew up in England. I know England like the back of my hand. I have English family. I think there is a lot of the time that happens. There's a lot of an insular projection too much in the Premier League. But having said that, rightfully so, the Premier League, in my opinion, is the strongest league in the world. There's no doubt about it. Partly because of the money. There's just so much money into it. You can't help but build strong teams. Look at Manchester City, look at Liverpool. I know today's not a good example, but look at Chelsea. So the Premier League to me is the tipping point, the league that everybody wants to point to. Partly, you'll hear many fans of other leagues saying, the Premier League. And part of it, I got to be honest, is jealousy. They know how good it is and they want to live up to it. Having said all of that, yes, I think there is a little bit of an ignorance on teams from specifically La Liga. Somebody like Villarreal, for example, very well tactically managed, etc. And obviously, when you look at the mid-table teams, I think outside of Real Madrid and Barcelona, most English-based pundits won't be able to give you a concrete answer. So I see what you're saying, but I stick to this, Michael. The giant to beat remains the Premier League teams such as Man City and Liverpool.
Look at the last Champions League winners over the last couple seasons, or the teams that make it into the last four,
Chelsea,
or the teams
Man
that made
City,
to the final.
Yeah, an all-English final a few years ago with Tottenham and Liverpool. Yeah.
The Premier League, rightfully so, because of the resources as you mentioned, and the TV, the star power. Players want to go to England at the end of the day, or they want to go and experience the Hollywood atmosphere of playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona, or that Hollywood German efficiency, the German version of Bayern Munich in certain countries. And it's easy to get carried away and start questioning those teams. This is a Chelsea team that is in turmoil, and Madrid put them to the sword. This is your best team in Spain. Should be maybe not so dominantly displaying what they displayed, but you'd like your chances if you're Real Madrid. If you are the best team in Spain, you would like the best team in Spain to go on and beat the third place team in England. Now, if that's not happening, then there's questions to be asked about La Liga if today's result was the other way.
Absolutely. And by the way, in regards to the Champions League, I don't care, Premier League, Serie A, Liga. If you don't know the pedigree of Real Madrid in this competition, then you don't know what the hell you're doing. This is the most successful club in Champions League history. If you don't know what Karim Benzema offers, then I can't help you. It doesn't matter whether you're based in England or whatever. So, and let me just correct something, not correct it, but just emphasize, I'm a fan of so many different leagues. I love it. It's just that I think due partly because of the economical power, but really more as well as the plethora of competition. I think that overall, to me, the Premier League is the strongest, not to say that other leagues in Europe are catching up to that. Today, the day belonged to Real Madrid just because they know how to win in this competition. They're Real Madrid, okay, the most successful team. So any final thoughts before we move on, Michael, on this game?
Experience won out today. This Real Madrid team, they are revolutionizing what it means to be Real Madrid in this competition, because look at the spine of the team. These are players that were part of that golden era under Zidane, winning Champions League, and their experience flourished, and it's now really shining off on young players around them. And I love that left-hand side for Madrid. But at the end of the day, experience. It's such an underappreciated quality in the Champions League. Keep an eye on that for the remainder of the competition.
Yeah, well said. And I'm just going to say also, I'm very surprised, pleasantly surprised at how Ancelotti, who our friend Jimmy Conrad likes to call the player whisperer, he can get the best out of players. How after Sergio Ramos left, you thought, what's going to happen to the back line? Like David Alaba coming into this has really shown a lot, at least in European competition. And look, clearly, right? Real Madrid got absolutely killed by Barcelona in El Clásico. I think Barcelona were outstanding in that game, but you can see in La Liga that Real Madrid can still relax at the fact that they should be able to win this table, this standings. It's just now the focus is a little bit more on the Champions League. But oh my God, if Kylian Mbappé comes to this club, by the way.
Oh, jeez.
Vinicius Junior one side, Kylian Mbappé on the other one, Karim Benzema. Okay. All right. Good night. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Man. All right. Well, listen, elsewhere in England, by the way, Carlo Ancelotti's old team, the one he said bye-bye to, the one he said bye, Felicia, and he just moved somewhere else. Everton, Frank Lampard's Everton, really probably wanted to watch his former Chelsea side play in the Champions League, but he had to deal with a 3-2 loss against Burnley. This was a massive 6-pointer, a must-win game in many ways, and Lampard went with a midfield consisting of one midfielder, Doucouré, one center-back, Holgate, and one winger. Iwobi is a little bit weird, and Danny Higginbotham, our friend, said, and I agree, whoever lost this one is going down. Now, Everton lost. Burnley are now, they're still in the relegation zone, but 1 point behind Everton. And Everton's next matches, I believe, are your Manchester United, Leicester City, and then the Merseyside derby. What do you make of Everton, first of all, and their survival?
No chance.
No chance.
No chance with that schedule. And now it's not just the schedule, the remaining schedule. Yes, you still have to play the games, and anything can happen on any given day. But it's the direction, it's the mood within the camp. There's this loss of hope, and the way they lost today. This was an Everton team that, as crazy as their midfield looked, they got 2 penalty kicks, and it was 2-1.
Yeah,
and there was an air of hope. Richarlison bangs away 2 penalty kicks. They were doing just enough against a Burnley team that once they get going, they're really hard to break down and maintain that. They're doing just enough. And when you're playing in a team that's fighting for survival, I remember this as a player, and unfortunately, it's a learning experience, but unfortunately, in the experiences I had, I played on some teams that we were fighting for our lives. And just when you think you're about to get out of the darkness just grabs you by the you-know-what and pulls you back down. And when you lose a match where you're ahead 2-1 and you end up losing late 3-2, all confidence goes out the window. I think that's the direction Everton's going.
Yeah, it's a scary one. They're only a point above relegation. Those teams they have to play are not going to be easy. Of course, they have their own objectives as well. But everybody out there, what do you think? Is Everton going down? And Burnley once again doing the great escape, which would be, once again, I think, depressing to a lot of people. They just want to see a new team outside of Burnley. But look, I can't hate on Sean Dyche, man. You think this club gets a lot of money? He gets nothing. He has to look behind his couch to get money for the transfer window. Like, they don't, and the fact that he maintains, his status in the Premier League is commendable. Yes, their football is not sexy. I take that. But they're strong. They're gritty. There's some of that old school Premier League style. And, he's doing whatever he can. And my friend Jordan Gardner, obviously, who knows a lot about ownership and stuff, he tweeted, like, it's a good point. You'd be surprised at how much money Everton has thrown at this problem for a while now, and it's still not working out. So maybe a relegation thing might be a thing. By the way, Maxwell Cornet, who scored the winner, he definitely is their sexiest player. He hadn't scored in 8 games, I believe, in that one, and he got the winner in that one. But anyway, if you think Everton's going down, let me know. If you don't, whatever. Let's see. There you go. Yep. Enjoy the championship toughest. Thank you. There you go. I think that's the best way to describe it. We're going to take a break, everybody. When we come back, Unai Emery does his magic again as Villarreal beat Bayern Munich, baby. I bet not many people saw that one coming, at least in the course of this first leg. And we'll talk about, because we have a Manchester United faithful here, we'll talk about the reported soon-to-be-made appointment of Erik Ten Hag to Manchester United. We'll ask ourselves if it's the right choice. What does it mean for Mauricio Pochettino, etc., and some final thoughts regarding the Europa League, as that's Thursday. Michael Lahoud, LME, Qué Golazo, Champions League Wednesday recap. We'll be right back.
The Covenant will not stop.
There is something within us, something sacred, something worth protecting. Silver King, on me.
Welcome back, everybody. Qué Golazo Champions League Wednesday recap. By the way, a week unlike any other is finally here. The Masters returns to Augusta National, where Hideki Matsuyama will defend his green jacket. So go join the First Cut Golf podcast, where the entire crew is previewing this year's tournament, from storylines to picks and even daily fantasy advice. The First Cut has you covered. The First Cut Golf podcast is available wherever you're listening to this pod. You play golf, Michael Lahoud?
I try and fail miserably.
It's a hard sport, huh?
Oh, well, whenever I hit the ball, I tell myself I'm the Sierra Leonean Tiger Woods, and when I miss the ball, I tell myself I'm the Sierra Leonean Tiger Woods. So still trying to figure out golf.
Well, I'm Peruvian. I just carry the bags. That's about it. But anyway, make sure that you check out the First Cut Golf podcast, all the info that you need. And it should be exciting to see Tiger Woods at the Masters. Unbelievable stuff there. All right, let's come back to the Champions League. I'll tell you what is unbelievable. Unai Emery just keeps doing his thing, Michael Lahoud. 1-0 against Bayern Munich. Friend of the show, Arnaud Danjuma, opened the scoring, by the way. He believes he's one of the best wingers in the world. I'm not here to doubt that. I think he's fantastic. He got that goal. Bayern did, obviously, statistically, as the game went on, overwhelmed Villarreal, but Villarreal stood very firm. Alphonso Davies did make his return in this one. I was surprised he started in this one, but it doesn't matter. El Submarino Amarillo shuts down Bayern Munich. Thoughts on this game, Michael?
I just want to start by saying good evening.
He doesn't mind it.
I couldn't help it. When we were doing the preview show for this game, this in the Liverpool game, I thought about less than the Liverpool match, but this game was definitely one of the trickier and trickiest ties. And for a Bayern team coming off a 4-1 win, when I saw the lineup, I could not believe that Leon Goretzka was on the bench.
Yeah, you were singing his praises before this in our preview, and I was surprised.
He scored a goal in his last match. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
In the Champions League, I thought Nagelsmann, and it makes me wonder if Nagelsmann did not take this match seriously enough to put out his strongest lineup. If you're going to put out Alphonso Davies, who's just come back from a long injury layoff, you got to put on Goretzka. Him and Kimmich, there's more balance to that. I thought he got it wrong with Musiala, and Musiala was involved in the goal. He did not follow his runner. Look at the players we're looking at Bayern, first of all. I thought their left-hand side was a problem for them. Alphonso Davies, as good as he is going forward and his recovery speed, he looked like a player who was trying really hard to make a stamp on the game.
Yeah, it was his first game back after a while, and you put him in a quarterfinal of the first leg. It's a little questionable. I know that he's a tremendous athlete, but that's a lot to ask, Michael. I agree.
Absolutely. And when you look at that left-hand side, you have Koeman, Musiala, and Davies, and what I thought Villarreal did really well was they utilized Lo Celso. Lo Celso, hey, what he couldn't do at Tottenham, he is definitely doing at Villarreal. He's finding ways to impact the match. And his run in behind, he plays it wide to Gerard Moreno, my word, what a player. Big striker. But how about that
Neuer? He intercepts Neuer's attempted pass, and he almost does a ridiculous goal from beyond his own half. Almost. Moreno's a tremendous player. Amazing. What I thought was interesting, Michael, was when I'm looking at these stats, Bayern Munich, like I said, they had 22 shots, but from that, only 4 on target, right? So you could see the philosophy there from Unai Emery. He's like, look, Bayern's going to come at us. That's fine. Just be organized, be compact. Here's the stat that really makes me think a little bit. In terms of their pass accuracy, right? And Bayern clearly had way more passes than Villarreal. Bayern Munich's pass accuracy was 85% to Villarreal 78%. And what that tells me is you tried to do a lot, but not achieved enough in this game. You were trying to create something that just wasn't happening. And Villarreal did a really good job at closing in the spaces, kind of like what Diego Simeone was trying to do for 90 minutes against it, but they weren't sitting. They weren't parking the bus.
Yeah.
They were just very smart in their counter. I thought it was a really good tactical game from Unai Emery.
I agree, and utilizing the pace of two players. Estupiñán in the Champions League is playing as one of the best left.
Hey, Michael, listen, let me tell you something just very quickly. I'll let you carry on, but when people ask me about Ecuador, Estupiñán, my friend, is just one of 10 players that Ecuador have just like that.
Oh, he is electrifying. When I saw him play against Manchester United in the group stages, I thought, who is this? What? Yeah. Get him. Eric Ten Hag, get him. We're gonna jump the gun a little bit, maybe not go full United. I just want to give that shout first on the transfer list. Call me. I've got good tips. But with this Villarreal team, they are what they are. And Estupiñán's pace going forward and the pace of Danjuma caused this Bayern Munich team problems. What didn't show up on the stat sheets for shots or goal chances created after they took the early lead, for a Bayern team that's used to camping out in your half, what happens when a team has pace and counters, you have to run 70 to 80 yards to get the ball back again.
Yeah.
And you have players who are attack minded that don't want to do that. On the goal, it was an attacking player who didn't want to defend and track his runner, Musiala. And then Hernandez didn't shift over. And it's just a disjointed Munich defense.
But it was
today,
lazy in the first half. Very lazy. And that's something that you don't say about Bayern Munich. I have no doubt that in the second leg, like, they're going to come out guns blazing. So Unai Emery has to be smart about it. Who do you see, by the way, now that the Villarreal traveling to Munich with a goal lead, do you still see Villarreal holding on, or do you think it just might be too much, as kind of like what happened with Salzburg, right? Because Salzburg led, like, they did better in the first half, and then they got destroyed in the second.
Where Villarreal is different from a Salzburg, Villarreal will be very content to see this go to penalty kicks. if it does, if Munich score a goal, they'll say, hey, we will sit in our 6-yard box, let alone the top of our box, and just do everything to take this to penalty kicks. What makes me question Villarreal's chances is they had 3, 4, 5 chances to get the second goal. If they got the second goal, then I think they probably could have gotten a third goal, because Bayern were playing that poorly for most of the match, and they had half chances. And it's just that lack of quality. I think very late on, they had a golden opportunity where the counterattack was on, Bayern putting a lot of numbers forward, and you have players slicing shots into the stands and almost hitting the neighborhood Valencia stadium, the Mestalla, with how poorly they were finishing. And those are the little details. When you play against the big boys, you have to put them to the sword, because you bet you know what, that when they get a chance, they will punish you. And I think it's just too much time left on the board for the likes of Lewandowski, Thomas Mueller, and Bayern's fearsome attack, especially playing at home, to get back in this tie. Yeah,
no, that's a good point. Villarreal really needed to. Unai Emery is probably looking back at tape and thinking, we really could have come up with another goal in that one. It wouldn't just been 1-0. Those are Robert Lewandowski's numbers. In all competitions, clearly he is one of the best number 9s in the world, arguably. You know, the battle between Benzema and him, of course, is a rightful one, but Ecuador, once again, see what I said there? Because I was thinking of Estupiñán. Villarreal did a pretty good job at, at least nullifying the very best of Lewandowski and Thomas Mueller, because usually Mueller, can create a lot. All right, well, listen, now that we've talked about both teams, Des Norris, I'm sorry I have to do this to you. If you can, put up that bracket, because I wanted to just get everybody's opinion. Now that we've seen the first legs from the quarterfinals, I wonder, Michael, if your thinking has changed a little bit, or does it remain the same in terms of who's going to come out victorious? We've got a Man City, just very thin 1-0 lead against Atleti. Liverpool did the business against Benfica 3-1. Bayern Munich lost to Villarreal 1-0. Chelsea lose to Real Madrid 3-1. Who do you have, just gut instinct, and this is not updated from today's score, by the way, but who do you have gut instinct going through to the semifinals still? Let's go from the top left.
Top left, Liverpool. What they did against the Benfica team, who was at home, fans behind them, they get the goals that they needed in the first half to really put that tie into question. And then the third goal was the icing on the cake. So got to go Liverpool in that one. The fact that they could do that away, they will be heavy metal and then some at home at Anfield. Are we going top right
let's
as
go
well?
Bottom left again.
Bottom left. Okay. Villarreal Bayern, I give Bayern the edge because Villarreal did not take care of business when they had the chances. If this was a 2-0 lead going into Munich, I give Villarreal the edge. But I think Bayern, they have too much quality. The only caveat to this is, what lineup does Nagelsmann put out there?
Yeah.
That'll say a lot about the chance that they have. Full strength Bayern team, they get back in this tie and they win it outright, I think. And then
by the way, that Villarreal win brought an end to Bayern Munich's 22-game unbeaten run on the road, which is, Des Norris, it's kind of wild. Thanks for reminding me. So there's something to be said about that. That's pretty remarkable, actually. So, take that from what you will. But good point about what Julian Nagelsmann will do in the second leg. But I agree with you. I see Liverpool winning this. It's done and dusted. This is tough because if it was the other way around and Bayern were entering Spain in the second leg, maybe, but I just think that Bayern will have too much. And to your point, Villarreal really should have put another one away. So I'm going to give it to Bayern Munich in that one. All right, top right, Man City Atleti. It's a thin lead. It's only 1-0.
I for those of you listening, I know sometimes I say some stuff that even I get off air and I'm like, man, what was I thinking? But not on this account. Atletico Madrid
I know
will go through.
I knew you were going to say that.
I knew you knew I was going to say that. So this is one of those moments that we might play the match, and I'm thinking, what was I thinking? But the way they defended for a large portions of that game, I just think it's going to come down to the fact that Manchester City just have too many big games in a short amount of time.
Yeah, no, that's a fair argument. Listen, I want to say Atleti so badly here, and like a part of me, like 40% actually, is saying go with that. Because I'll tell you what, here's what people don't understand. Diego Simeone is a little bit like an NBA coach. He doesn't really think in 90 minutes. He thinks in stages. He thinks, let's just frustrate them for this amount of time. Once we do that, let's go to. So that's his thinking. It's like, let's go stage by stage, right? He has reportedly, reading from some great articles, including Miguel Delaney's, in training, he has a sequence for any kind of defensive possibility. So if Joe Cancelo goes one way, they'll figure out a way. So to your point, that's how they do it. Like, it's not just parking the bus. They have an actual system. It's just that in the very last moment, a magical player called Phil Foden just broke it out and fed to Kevin De Bruyne. Now, can Atleti get a goal at Wanda Metropolitano? Yes. Can they either take a second and take it to penalties? That to me is a bigger question. So that is going to be the biggest obstacle. So if this happens, Atleti have to, at the very least, just like I said, Diego Simeone has to think third quarter. Think the beginning of the second half. If it's 0-0 at halftime and you're still down 1-0, then your first sort of 15 minutes in the second half, that's your chance. Like, you need to go all out, because otherwise it's gonna keep going. But I'm going for Man City win. I just think it's too. I just didn't see enough options up front. Michael Lahoud, Joao Felix is amazing, Griezmann as well, but they didn't have enough service. Do you see a different approach from Simeone in that second leg?
You start Suarez.
You think you start Suarez no matter what? Yeah,
you start him no matter what.
And by the way, Herrera wasn't playing in that game, and maybe Jimenez will be back as well. That's a big one.
That was a massive loss for them. And if you're going to play a back three, especially having him, his experience, and his just grit and tenacity, I think that's a fear factor for City's free-flowing front three and midfielders, because he's going to kick you and really bully you if you come anywhere near him. I think you start Suarez, and then you pick someone who's going to run off of him. But you have to start Suarez in that game. He'll get the City defenders riled up. He's a big game player. I didn't understand why. I mean, especially coming back to England. Of course, you play Joao Felix because he's been in fuego for them. I think he scored 7 goals, 3 assists in their last 10 matches since they've gotten going. Yeah. He's been killing it. I think you put him and Suarez in there if you're going to go with form and big gameness. Suarez, you have to play no matter what.
Yeah, I just think because it's only 1-0, I'm just trying to figure out how he's going to do those first 2 quarters, that first half. Like, how's he going to think? But, it'll be a very good game. And yes, a very good comment. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, who said it about the return of Ruben Diaz. Also, obviously, that will be important. There you go. And so thank you so much. Their counterattacks are scary, but will Diaz be ready next stage? This is the game changer. Yep, I agree. But Man City have a lot of game changers. I know they have a $300 million bench. So, it's just about figuring out how to work it out. Also, will Pep Guardiola overthink it? We will have to wait. And then on the other side of that bracket, Real Madrid, they'll get the job done?
Game, set, match. Madrid.
It's over. Ancelotti's got you.
Yeah, there's not much to say in this tie. I think what's needed to be said has been said, and they proved that today. And Carlo Ancelotti, his just savviness, he got a 10 out of 10 display in terms of his tactical just awareness of Chelsea's deficiencies, how to nullify them. I think Chelsea are a team that know how to frustrate other teams and get you that goal, where now you're throwing numbers forward. Chelsea are a team that come out at you, and it's not them being at their best, where they're throwing tons of numbers forward. And you saw that where they switched to a back 4 again. And yes, were they desperate? Yes. Did they have chances? Yes. But did they really look super dangerous after the Lukaku header? Not particularly. Azpilicueta gets the shot from distance. But other than that, Madrid looked relatively comfortable in seeing that out. I just think Madrid, the gulf in class is too much for Chelsea.
Yeah, Militao is going to be suspended for that game, by the way. So Ancelotti has just some thinking to do who will be next to David Alaba. But Chelsea need to be 1-0 up in the first half. If that doesn't happen, it's over. It's over. It's too much. The Bernabeu will be so ready for it. But all right. And then, so that means what? Real Madrid against, who is it? Man City, right? But you have Atleti. So,
yeah.
But okay, that's a Madrid derby in the semifinals. Who do you have winning that one?
Oh, man.
Valentina, thank you. Man City's going to finish the job at Atletico, and I'm really hoping for a historic comeback from Chelsea. We'll see, Valentina. I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll see, huh? What do you think?
If it's City or if it's
Madrid derby. Let's go with yours. If it's a Madrid derby, who's winning that?
Oh, man. Maybe it's the hope. It's just the hope and the romantic in me
that we get a Madrid derby.
I love this group of athletic players as individuals on paper. Just they have so much depth on this team, and it's just, will Simeone really just go for it if you get to that point?
Well, if there's an opponent that he knows the best, is Real Madrid, right? So,
I'd give, if it's a Madrid derby, I go Atleti to reach the final.
And on the other side,
why you gotta do this to me?
That's easier though. Surely that's a Liverpool win all the way, isn't it?
If it's Liverpool Bayern, oh man, that is. You got Liverpool. You got to go Liverpool. I think one.
So it's Liverpool, Atleti. Who do you have winning the final?
What's that song? Walk on. I never thought I'd be saying Liverpool is going to win again, but this Liverpool team.
You'll never walk alone. You think Liverpool's got this? All right.
Yeah, I think they got this.
Well, I have Liverpool in the final too, but I have Man City in the other one. It's an all Premier League final, and I think Man City will finally get that title. But I've been proven wrong a million times before. So.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is this influenced by Jack Grealish being there?
No. Oh, are you kidding? If it was influenced by Jack Grealish, I would be saying Man City's not winning.
Just a burning question. I
wish him all the best, but everybody knows, everybody in Qué Golazo knows, Villa fans know that I wish him all the best. Obviously, he's given so much to Villa, but, as far as what happens to him now, like, he's not a Villa player. It's not my concern what happens anymore. I'd rather talk about the wonder there is Jacob JJ Ramsey. That's really more important. Hey, let's talk about your club for a second. Manchester United news, by the way, reports from Fabrizio Romano, of course, Mark Ogden as well, and Rob Dawson, our good friends there as well from ESPN originally. But Fabrizio Romano also reported it as well, obviously confirming it, our very own Fab. Eric Ten Hag, Michael Lahoud, Manchester United board are pushing on Ten Hag as new manager per Mark Ogden, of course. An agreement not completed, but the talks are ongoing on staff, budget, and more. He's also approved by Ralf Rangnick and Eric Ten Hag. Priority has always been Manchester United's work in progress. Apparently, they had a meeting, maybe more than one, and Ten Hag laid down all his questions. Essentially, it was Ten Hag interviewing United, which is how I feel it should be at this point.
Yeah.
And it's basically set by Dan. What are your thoughts on this?
Right manager, but could it be the wrong time?
Why?
This is a special manager. This is a very quality manager. He has a playing philosophy, dynamic, interchangeable, possession oriented. Just what he's done at Ajax over the last couple of years has been special to watch, and it's made me an Ajax fan. Not just because he potentially could be the United manager, but just as a lover of the game, it's been refreshing to watch that sort of management and that sort of football being played again, coming out of the Netherlands. Now, with this Manchester United team, though you have a new manager, will they give him the freedom to get the players and the system he wants to implement? Because with how things have been as of late, especially in the last couple of years, you could bring in Zidane, you could bring in anyone around the world, but that ain't going to change anything if the powers that be above don't release control over what's happening in that locker room and what's happening with contracts and really the things that impact the wider picture for this team. Paul Pogba needs to be moved on.
For his sake, honestly, for his sake.
He's a brilliant player. And I'm a Paul Pogba fan as I'm saying that, but it's hurting the player and it's hurting the club. And it's just not a good relationship at this point. Yeah. You're seeing that in some of his displays as of late, and it just really looks labored when he's on the field. I think it'd be eye-opening to see what Ten Hag does with a Cristiano Ronaldo. Does the club, is that part of the discussions? Because if you think back to when they had the chance to get Antonio Conte, I could imagine that Conte may have had that in his clause of, well, if I'm going to come here, that may not be one of my players. So I think the United board really need to take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask themselves, do we just want to get this guy to say that we did miss out on him now? Or are we going to give this guy the right control and the right powers to change this entire thing around?
Yeah. Call to action, everybody. Comments, please send them in right now. Is Erik ten Hag the right man for the job, for the Manchester United job? I do believe, Michael, that part of that interview process was Erik ten Hag literally talking about what you're talking about, which is like, what is my freedom in terms of the preseason? What can I do? How is this going to be set up in order to help me develop the squad that I want? Budget, etc., all that stuff. So I'm sure he's thinking, I have no doubt Erik ten Hag, to your point, fantastic manager, tremendous what he's done with Ajax. I like that comment that you made about whether he's the right man for this club at this time. Let's see what happens, especially if he enters in the preseason where hopefully he can get everything together. We will see. Time will tell. I've always thought that the best man for Manchester United is actually somebody that doesn't want anything to do right now with United or the Premier League, and that's Zinedine Zidane. Because he would be the man that would come in and his reputation would demand the respect of a Ronaldo or whatever. So all these little tiffs that we're hearing about, whether they're true or not, that would not happen with Zinedine Zidane. That's never going to happen. Zidane doesn't want the Premier League, etc. Erik ten Hag, to me, is a great manager. Nobody's the right man to manage.
Oh, man.
Yeah, something tells me you're not a United fan, Natalie. That's fine. But Ten Hag has the tactical know-how, the awareness, and he can do tremendous things. But to your point, he's going to look at the squad and think, who fits, who doesn't, who's not truly all in on this setup. And if they're not, then it's fine. There's the door, etc. They're going to have to figure out up front, because Edinson Cavani wants to go. They're going to have to figure out what to do with Marcus Rashford, because right now he's a shadow of himself. They're going to have to figure out, of course, the off-the-field issues. The Mason Greenwood situation is no, laughing matter. Something has to be done with that, of course. So there's a lot that has to be done with this club. And Erik ten Hag is probably thinking very carefully here, Michael Lahoud, well, do I want this? And it seems that it's going to happen. But all the best. Final thoughts on Ten Hag before we move on to my next question about this. And by the way, is Ten Hag the right man for the job, everybody? Great comments. Please keep them coming.
Remember when Manchester City gave Pep Guardiola the job? Before Pep made any signings, what'd he do? He got rid of the trash. He took the to the bin. It is Pep Guardiola, but at the same time, it's a manager who was given the freedom.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that that's what's going to happen to Erik ten Hag. I think he will get that freedom. I'm actually more concerned about if there's any truth to the whole drama within Joe Hart, better than Ronaldo. If there's any truth to that, to all the tiffs that are going on within the dressing room, you need somebody that just says enough. This is not happening. I hope that that's Ten Hag. It will be interesting to see how he manages that. But to your point, Guardiola came into Man City and said, look, I don't want this. We're not doing this. We're going to focus on this, whatever. So will he get the doors to the kingdom? We'll see. Valentina, I don't think he's the right manager for United. Ajax is not in the same pressure. Yeah, okay. And a much lower league than Premier. It's not a bad point. Ajax, with all due respect, a tremendous club. But you almost have to try not to be a top two team in the Eredivisie when you're Ajax, right? When you're Ajax. Obviously, there's competition. No disrespect to PSV Eindhoven, etc. But, it's true. Like, the Premier League gives you a certain level of pressure, but I think he's a smart enough man to take care of that. I just thought that the only person that can fix this is Zinedine Zidane.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And when there were rumors circulating around about Zidane as a potential replacement, I thought, oh, Adidas. He used to be an Adidas guy. Ronaldo, only person apart from Fergie, Ronaldo listened to and respect. This is a match made in heaven. Now I'm asking myself, where's the bourbon?
Would you have preferred Mauricio Pochettino?
Who? No. No. And it just Pochettino's in a very raw place right now.
Yeah,
and we don't need a coach who's hurting coming to United because as a fan I'm hurting.
Yeah, that's true. Manchester United is not your therapy session. Like, they're not going to be. They need help themselves. That's true. Listen, I'm going to tell you something about Pochettino, though, everybody. I don't want this whole argument about like he's never won a title. Like, you are looking at this game the wrong way. Pochettino, especially in what he did at Espanyol and Southampton, were fantastic. He, the only reason why he didn't win the Premier League title with Tottenham was because there was a ridiculous, miraculous situation with Leicester City. Like, they really. And so there is a great manager in there. I just think that Pochettino needs a club that needs salvation from a hunger perspective, not a top 2, not a top 4. Go to La Liga, go back there and manage a team that's trying to get into the top 4 and trying to fight a Villarreal kind of team. I'm not saying Unai Emery should go. I'm just saying like that kind of situation. That's what's going to help Pochettino. Go to Serie A and maybe do something special with a team that needs help. But don't go to like a team that's already a top 2, but don't disregard his work just because he hasn't won silverware. Like, he's done a lot. It's just, to your point, it's not the right combination. Pochettino and Manchester United, not at this very moment. He should have taken it before Solskjaer got that full-time contract. Anyway, that's what I.
That was at the time that was pre-Ole's at the wheel.
Yeah,
and the wheels on the bus have since come off. So.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, let's wrap things up here. Final thoughts on Europa League, which is on Thursday, of course, which you can watch exclusively on Paramount Plus. Some great action. We've talked about it in our preview, Michael, but very quickly, once again, any specific games that you're looking forward to?
I can't wait to see Barcelona play. I just love what Xavi's done. And your favorite player, who is that? I think
Pedri, El Mago.
Thank you. I'm excited to see this kid play again. I can't get enough of Barcelona, especially after that Clasico win. Just cannot get enough of this team. And I expect them to get through this tie, and I expect to see them in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to West Ham once again. Let's see what they do against Lyon. And also, you mentioned it in the preview. I'll say it again. RB Leipzig against Atalanta will be a pretty sexy game. But yeah, I think everybody's pretty excited at the fact that Barcelona under Xavi is doing the Barcelona that everybody knew for so many years. But those are the fixtures. Leipzig against Atalanta. That's an early kickoff, by the way. Frankfurt against Barcelona. West Ham at home to Lyon. London Stadium should be rocking. And Braga against Rangers. So that should be another good game. Very good stuff for Van Bronckhorst in that one. But yeah, that's it. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being part of the family. Michael Lahoud, make sure to follow him at Mike Lahoud. Michael, as you may or may not know, is part of our family here at Qué Golazo, so expect a lot more from him even after he gets married, even though I'm sure you'll get listen, I'm telling you, married life is amazing, but get ready to, put up your front because wifey's going to want you to work and you're just going to do it with a smile. Happy wife, happy life, Michael Lahoud.
So I've been told, and so far so good. Got to see the wedding venue today and a lot of these.
Yes, dear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You're right. Nope.
Final thoughts on anything else, though, Michael, as we look ahead to the Europa League and the end of the Champions League first leg quarterfinals?
A match that we briefly touched on. I'm really excited to see Rangers and Braga, two teams who had polarizing results. Ranger coming off the Old Firm derby loss, Braga coming off a massive win against Benfica. And just there's going to be a lot of emotions boiling over in that one. Two teams who could be really wild card teams and teams that no one wants to play against should they progress.
Yep, well said. Well, make sure that you enjoy them only on CBS Sports and Paramount Plus. Michael Lahoud at Mike Lahoud, LMHagaray at LMHagaray on Twitter. This is youtube.com/Qué Golazo. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we look to reach 11,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Qué Golazo Pod on Twitter as well. After this, we will have our weekend preview, which includes Manchester City against Liverpool. And of course, some more really cool things that we're coming up with in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for us. But thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday evening. We will see you next time. Till then,